What screams I have low self-esteem? Assuming that you're always on the cusp of annoying everyone you're with, or that you're never actually part of the group and only invited out of pity. It's interesting how the answers in this thread are very polarized. Some insecure people turn outward and project confidence or meanness, while others turn inward and self-doubt apologize for their existence. Both are insecure, but they display in completely different ways. Insecure and in butthole versus insecure and not in butthole. Somebody who apologizes frequently, even for things that aren't their fault. I've apologized to inanimate objects before. I apologized to a chair once. Thinking that everything bad someone tells you is true, but the second someone compliments you, you just can't seem to accept it. Constantly assuming other people are looking at you, judging you, making comments about you, etc. Believing that other people are overly fixated on you or your life, I think, is a huge sign that your self-esteem is low. Most other people, especially strangers, don't really go out of their way to obsess over a stranger. And if you're constantly trying to read malice into a random person's subtle actions, you probably are too concerned with how you're being perceived to the point of imagining negative attention where none exists. For anyone wondering, I can confirm that the only reasons I stare at people walking by is either 1. Me daydreaming and not realizing that I am staring, 2. Me thinking that you have great hair, a great beard, a great jacket, etc. TL. Doctor, if I would hate you, I wouldn't be looking at you. When someone fishes for compliments or constantly finds ways to get others to compliment you. People with a healthy level of self-esteem don't do this and don't have to seek out affirmation. I have such a bad reaction to this, like when someone says something along the lines of, sorry, this meal is probably really terrible. Sorry I made you eat it. I really don't want to validate them by telling them they're wrong and it's perfectly fine, but also don't want to look like a jerk and tell them they're right. Saying you wish you had someone's features. I'm pretty sure everyone's done it, but once you keep doing it, I feel like it becomes a problem. Give me your eyes. I need them. Apologizing for talking. Apologizing for not talking. Apologizing for apologizing. Apologizing for being alive. Not being able to speak looking at other people's face or eyes. Something I say by experience. You just start to think they may judge you, or may notice that pimple, or how bad you have your hair in that moment, or your nose form. It's like if I don't see their faces, they won't see my defects. I don't know if I explained myself well. I cannot make eye contact. I've gotten better though. One girl had really pretty eyes and I made eye contact with her for a whole 20 seconds. Now I just feel self-conscious. Is she gonna think I'm weird for looking her in the eye? The floor looks so nice, it used to actually hurt my face to look people in their eyes for more than 0.00001 seconds. Needing a lot of reassurance for basic things. In my last job, the constant stress of the position, lack of support was causing me to question every element of my job, even the simplest stuff. Getting angry when they're wrong. Clearly their brain is going through a lot of paces to convince themselves that they're smart, capable, what have you. When they're shown to be wrong about anything, it's like a rug is pulled from them. Mind you, this isn't just mild annoyance. Constantly crap talking other people. The cheapest way to gain self-worth is through juxtaposition. That is, let me crap talk someone else to make myself feel better. Unfortunately, these games are short-lived, so they need to keep crap talking other people to keep feeling okay. Bonus points if the crap talking is hypocritical. Watch out specifically for people who seem like they're looking for a reason to complain about other people. I think that just added to my list of things to work on. This has the potential to be a controversial suggestion, but laughing at the end of every sentence. I didn't believe it at first, as it was something I did myself, and I truly believed that I was just doing it to be friendly. The more I looked into it though, the more apparent it became that I was nervous all the time. After some self-reflection, I realized that it's fine to end a conversation simply and bluntly if I've got things to do. Before I would have hung around trying to make small talk and jokes. No, I actually agree with this. I have an extremely bad habit of laughing after almost every sentence I say to people I don't know without realizing it. I thought of it as being friendly too at first, but it really just means I'm nervous like you. If I'm talking to someone I'm comfortable with, it's nowhere to be seen. I've been trying my best to stop, but it's proving to be a bit difficult. Lying about their lives. There is nothing more sad than catching a person lying about their life, finances, romantic relationships, etc., just to get attention and validation. Constantly needing reassurance that your spouse loves you still. Feeling super insecure in the relationship, even after being together through thick and thin for 30 years. Breaks my heart. In fairness, with the propensity of cheating and divorce, and having gone through it, you might need periodic reminders that your spouse still loves you. A complete inability to admit wrongdoing. A person like that isn't super confident. Their ego is so fragile that they can't handle the possibility of having been in error. Also a sign of narcissism. Planning to live alone for the rest of your life because you think everyone hates you, but also thinking you won't be able to because you think you won't be good enough to get a job. Over clarifying. So, Saturday night. I guess it was really Sunday morning. The sun wasn't up or anything, but it was after midnight. People who grow up with lots of criticism and invalidation usually lack self-esteem. They often feel like they have to be super specific to avoid more criticism or accusations of lying. I do this with so many of my explanations. I'd call this excessive contextualization, such that your experience or opinion is valid in the described circumstance, even if you believe there's a high chance your input would be invalid or incorrect in most cases. The setup for your story or argument takes at least as long to state as your main point. Constantly needing attention and validation from others. Being unable to be happy alone. The inability to accept fault and hold themselves accountable. Apologizing and clarifying every time you say something you think may possibly have been misinterpreted in a way which could maybe cause someone to feel offended. By all means, correct yourself when you word something stupidly, but at some point you have to have confidence that reasonable people will understand what you're saying. Okay, I'm guilty of this one, but only because I have autism and can't communicate effectively at all because of it. I constantly get screamed at, threatened, or worse for saying things that get interpreted wrong, and I have no idea how to fix it. The people that inflate their ego way out of proportion either are actually just egotistical or have extremely low self-esteem. This thread just confirmed what I already knew, that my self-esteem is so low it's underground, and everyone can tell. I should probably go to therapy. Yeah, me too. I think there are very few answers in this thread that I am not guilty of sometimes. I guess I must have low self-esteem. I kinda hate how so many people here talk so negatively about people with low self-esteem, like the person actually wants to have low self-esteem. I suffer with it pretty badly, obviously, with this comment, and I'd love more than anything to not feel this way. It hinders everything in my life. Feelings mutual. I didn't ask to be born autistic. I'm super timid. Hypersensitive, overreacting to any criticism. Insults and criticism aren't fun for anyone, and it's not a sign of poor self-esteem to not enjoy that. But the people who feel the need to go to extremes and get way too emotional in order to defend themselves over minor slights do so because their sense of themselves is very fragile. Crap, I even feel sensitive when I get downvoted. Although I try to reassure myself that this is Reddit, even then I get that weird feeling. Someone who makes a valid, well-constructed point in the conversation but ends it with something like, "If that makes sense. I'm not sure, but yeah. Ouch, you shouldn't talk about me behind my back like that, you know." Poor personal hygiene. It's a very common symptom of depression and low self-worth. Of course, it can come from extenuating life circumstances, but it's definitely a good reason to check in with someone. When someone always points out negative things or responds with a negative, especially when someone around them shares something positive. A friend of mine got his first car, a 1999 Honda Civic, and brought it over to a friend's house to show him. When he pulled up in the car, the friend said, "Why is it white? That's so stupid." Reading a book or watching a film and thinking, "I wish I was this character. They know how to do the whole living thing." Self-deprecating humor. Even if it's well executed, I can't help but feel that it's 100% real insecurities, and ultimately it's a way to fake confidence. I think this is a 50/50. Sometimes I do make jokes at myself and it is an insecurity, but most of the time I just state things that are pretty true and that I am okay with. Avoidance behavior, regarding both people and experiences. Blaming others for one's own mistakes. Fear of failure and even worse, fear of success. Difficulty making friends. Constant comparisons to others, always denigrating the self in doing so, inability to deal with frustration, low levels of motivation and interest, inability to take a compliment, visible signs of anxiety and stress. Constant validation seeking. If you need 587 people to validate your behavior, you clearly don't think too much of yourself. I only need 586. That was a close one. Having an imaginary conversation about a hypothetical question with yourself just to be prepared for that one time somebody might ask you that question. People who have to one-up you on everything. Whatever you say, they have done it more, or better, or more expensively, whatever. Name dropping and talking about money or stuff as some focus fixation. That and these stickers on the back of car windows. That is, cheap but tacky Christmas trees on wheels that proclaim people as humble. Someone who often jokes about themselves a lot. I know this from experience. I have a friend group and most of us don't have much self-esteem, especially me. I have social anxiety and have always struggled with low self-esteem. You often make yourself the butt of the joke and often make comedic comments about yourself. I often say those things because I don't have much confidence or view myself very highly. We often cover up our low viewing of ourselves with silly jokes. We bring ourselves down without realizing it and it breaks us slowly. I'm afraid to say I still do this a lot, but in a way it takes my mind off of how much I seriously don't like myself. If you have a friend or you yourself joke around about yourself a lot or on a daily basis, that's a sign of low self-esteem. If you find yourself saying how much you're not really useful or deeply worrying about how you feel about yourself as a person and stressing about how other people think of you, reflecting onto how you think about yourself, then you might want to consider that you have severe low self-esteem. This is something to think of because it can often result in depression, as it did with me. If you do, please take a depression, social anxiety, or suicidal test. Depending on your results, I recommend seeing a psychiatrist. I'm doing much better and I don't exactly have depression anymore. I'm currently taking meds and going to therapy. It was hard to reach out, but it's okay to. It doesn't make you weak and you are amazing for reaching out. Live your best life and love others. Thank you. Holy crap. I was not expecting to see something like this today. Like, other people might have thought this kinda cheesy, but this is exactly what I needed today. I'm really glad you're doing better. I'm in the process of looking for help right now, so hopefully I can find myself in the same place soon. Thanks for taking your time to write something so thoughtful and from the heart. I would say when someone doesn't want you to see when they take off their shirt, or when they take off their pants or underwear. I feel like people can play out the smaller things, but when it comes to their body, a lot of people really try to hide it. Compliments turn me into a stuttering mess. Tell me I'm a piece of crap or I can't do something and I'll calmly engage you and either agree or explain why you're easily wrong. Actually give me some affirmation and tell me I'm good at something. I have no idea what's happening right now and I can't figure out what to do with my hands. What's absolutely hilarious is that the rank of the top comments that I currently see are in order. Thinking that every time someone laughs it's because they're laughing at you or making fun of you. Grade school. Being excessively concerned with how others perceive you. High school. Apologizing for talking. Apologizing for not talking. Apologizing for apologizing. Apologizing for being alive. Sounds like college internship to me. Thinking that everything bad someone tells you is true, but the second someone compliments you, you just can't seem to accept it. Grad school imposter syndrome. Lying about their lives. There is nothing more sad than catching a person lying about their life, finances, romantic relationships, etc., just to get attention and validation. Adulthood with people who attempt to live above their means. And finally, never admitting not being knowledgeable of a topic. Ever seen an old person correct themselves? I think not. People flashing huge name brand logos on clothes, gold jewelry, and driving an expensive leased car. It screams my self-esteem is tied to material goods, and waste all my money on disposable items. It implies they likely don't have real wealth in an investment account and are likely living paycheck to paycheck. Being disrespectful to others, for any reason, but especially harassing or disrespecting people who are happy, unless they directly and specifically insult you or your being. Every time someone's racist or homophobic or sexist or anything like that, it always screams I hate myself. Seeing the comments, I feel like people keep mixing up low self-esteem with being an absolute narcissist. A person with low self-esteem is afraid of failing other people, and always constantly thinking that they'll never be enough. A narcissist is a selfish jackass that puts down other people, always trying to one-up people, overcompensate everything they do and putting those steel balls on their truck. Not being able to laugh at themselves and or take themselves too seriously. Self-deprecating humor is usually an admission of being human, that we are all flawed and make mistakes and that we should be able to laugh at ourselves. People who are incapable of that demonstrate that they really feel that way about themselves, and that joking about making mistakes or whatever hits too close to home. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.